Hello, everyone. My name is Brian Irvin. I'm a senior solution architect here at Skillsoft, and I'm really excited to talk to you guys today about this topic. It is a personal passion of mine, winning with virtual leadership experiences. Over the past 20 years, I've had the incredible opportunity of working with a large number of enterprises, smaller companies, helping them build leadership programs and scale them across the organization. So super excited to show you our solution and present to you guys today. So if you think about a successful leadership solution, really, when we're talking about leadership, one of the main things is being able to, what we're trying to accomplish is helping organizations unleash your edge. What I mean by edge is like it's the inner beast of the organization, right? It's all that untapped, hidden potential in all of your employees, really, from your individual contributors all the way up to senior leaders. So being able to tap into that talent can be a huge competitive differentiator in the marketplace. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to do it through the context of a story today, and we're going to be looking at this example of Jordan Smith, who is a new manager in an organization. So, and if you'll think about just for a moment back to your last job transition, you have a number of skills that you probably do very well that you've mastered, and as you step into that new role, like Jordan, you've got a whole new set of skills that you're going to need to quickly ramp up on in order to be successful. So really highlighting here, there's examples, and this is really at any level in leadership, right? There are times when you need, maybe a senior leader needs a quick hit of information, some reinforcement from an expert, or in Jordan's example, there may be some scenarios or sometimes some examples that come up where she'll need to go into a deeper dive on a particular topic and really master the foundational skills as she progresses upward. So what we're going to do today with Jordan, we're going to take a look at the solution through these 4 different lenses. We're going to show you how the platform or the technology that we have a learning experience platform we call Percipio, works hand in hand with our cutting edge instructional design leadership content to really provide a robust leadership solution that you can scale through your organization. So on-demand performance is one of those key considerations. We're also going to talk about modern learner expectations. Jordan she consumes content today on a number of different sites like many of you do. She's out shopping on Amazon. She's watching movies on Netflix. She's listening to music on iTunes. All of those experiences seem very modern to her, simple. She has a certain level of expectation. She doesn't need a user guide or any help getting started in those platforms. So why should it be any different for her learning experience? And then we'll kind of shift gears and we'll go into the content side of the equation. We'll take a look at how Skillsoft's leadership content is different, how it's unique in the marketplace, and some of the hands-on tools that we offer new leaders or leaders at any level to ensure that they have something they can use to practice the skills that they've learned. So I'm going to switch over to share right quick. Give me just a minute to cue this up.
All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to follow Jordan through the day in her typical work life, right? So it's 8 o'clock in the morning, and she's out on the internet. Quite honestly, a lot of places where many people in the organization get information and learn today, right? So she's out on the internet reading an article on how to be a more effective leader. Let's just toggle over. Toggle over to the article. So she's out on Inc.com reading this article on 7 keys to becoming a remarkably effective leader. She scrolls down, she reads through the article. She notices a key term there that she wants to learn more about, delegating. So she highlights the term. Now what we're gonna show here is a little piece of technology that comes with the platform, a little browser plugin that lives right up here next to the address bar. There's also a desktop version that's available, and it works very much just like the browser plugin. This is all about connecting your learners to relevant learning material without them having to leave where they're working or what they're doing on the web or on their desktop and go anywhere else to get that information. So as she's got that term highlighted, she clicks on the search in Percipio link that runs the search in the little browser plugin. She clicks on it, and right here she can see she's got some relevant matches to take a look at. So she clicks on this video, How to Delegate. Now at this point, the video is going to launch directly where she's working. I have the sound muted, but she can watch the video. You'll note this is a short 3-minute and 30-second video. She can get the content information that she needs. There's also some light interaction she can do with the content. If she wants to add a piece of content to her playlist, or she thought it was useful and wanted to let other leaders in the organization know it's useful, she can give it a Facebook thumbs up. And maybe she has a few more minutes and she wants to go into a little bit more depth on this subject. There's also a View in Percipio link, which will take her from the web page that she's on directly into the platform. And what we do here is, you notice we didn't take her into a long list of resources, about delegation. We took her directly back to that video that she was watching. It picked up right where she left off in the browser plugin. She can also see, maybe she has a couple more minutes. This 3-minute and 30-second video is part of a longer course, a 45-minute course. So she has a few more minutes and she wants to get a little bit more information in one of these other areas, she could dive right in. All right, so let's shift back over to Jordan's day. So now we're at 10 o'clock. Jordan, maybe she's had a couple of meetings between 8 and 10, and now she's at a point where she was thinking back to that delegation video that she was watching just a little bit earlier, and she wants to go back in and take a look at that again, pick up where she left off. And this segment of the story is really focused on a modern learner experience, right? We're all used to consuming content today. Maybe Jordan likes to watch movies on Netflix. Maybe she searches, shops for items on Amazon, or maybe she even listens to music on iTunes. All different sites where she consumes content. Why should consuming learning content be any more difficult? It should be just as simple as using those experiences that she's already familiar with. Let's jump back over into the site. We'll go to the home page, which is where she would typically land. So when she comes in, what you'll note here, one of the ways that we wrap around that modern learner expectation or experience is through this concept of a connected experience. So in today's world, people are busy, they're coming and going. Jordan came in through the site earlier through Elsa. She left the site, she came back into it. Maybe she comes in on her iPad later in the afternoon or her iPhone. Regardless of how she's coming or going, it should be very simple for the leader or the learner to find the last thing that they were looking at, right? So any entry point that you come into the platform, one of the first things that the learner will note that Jordan notices is this resume learning carousel. So she can quickly go back to that delegation video that she was watching and continue right where she left off. The other concept of how we meet a modern learner expectation is around this concept of personalization, right? So really meeting the leader's needs based on their own interests. And how we do that is through a short onboarding process. The first time anyone or leader or Jordan interacts with the platform, we take her through this short onboarding process where we ask her a couple of questions. What topics are you interested in? And under those topics that you select, which particular subjects? And she can make selections here. She could alter these, fine-tune them. Once she's selected her items there, we use that information to create this homepage experience. So you can see those different subjects that she selected in the onboarding process showing right here on the homepage. The other way that we personalize the learning experience is through this concept of modalities, right? So different learners like to have different learning styles. So for Jordan, maybe she prefers to learn reading textbook material. So these filters, watch, read, and listen. She can easily toggle on a read filter if she wants to read a textbook, or if she wants to listen to an audiobook. She can make an adjustment there, and these content streams will serve up relevant resources or leadership material to help her from that perspective. How else do we customize the experience? We do it through an AI recommendation engine, and you'll see that in the strip right here. So as Jordan is out interacting with different topics, leadership topics, etc., the site will get to know a little bit about Jordan, and then they'll start to serve up relevant pieces of content that she might be interested in. And the more that she interacts with the site, may even reach to a point where the site is serving up pieces of content she doesn't know she's looking for yet. So it's all about driving efficiency, really connecting Jordan to as many relevant topics and pieces of content on this page as possible. So lastly, the other way that we kind of help with a modern learner experience is, and it's something that regardless of what other types of sites Jordan's using, we all have this concept of kind of wanting to vet content based on what other people have found useful. And the way that we do that in Percipio, there's a couple different ways. One way is through that concept we saw how she liked content earlier, where she can quickly tell by looking at the content tiles, hey, this course on delegation, there were 331 other people that found it useful, so it may be a really good course for me to take, watch. The other way that we do that, we show kind of what content may be useful, is through this concept of what we call popular channel down at the bottom of the screen. And this is almost like if you think about maybe a concept of crowdsourcing. So this is based on based on the volume of people. What are the most popular topics that have been accessed in the library? So she can quickly take a look through this panel and see if there might be some other relevant channels.
Didn't go our way.
All right, so let's switch back over. Jump back over to our day. 10 o'clock has come and gone. It's 1 o'clock. It's a little bit later in the afternoon. Jordan has a team meeting coming up tomorrow. She's got a little bit of conflict that's brewing in the team, and she's looking for some resources to help handle that conflict. So what we're going to talk about here today, we're going to kind of shift gears. We've looked at the platform and some of the ways that it can help Jordan from a leadership perspective. Now we're going to talk about the content and how that's helpful. So let's dive back into the platform. So once she's back into the platform, you've seen the search engine, Elsa. I'm going to take you through a little bit of a different navigation scheme here just so you can see how easy it is. So going back to that concept of shopping online, shopping on Amazon, it's a very simple concept. Amazon has hundreds of thousands of products, and it's very easy to kind of browse through the store and see what you're looking for and find what you're looking for. It's the same kind of concept in Percipio. So with the Browse Library feature, she can go through the different areas of the library. You can note here, too, that as an organization, if you wanted to add your own content to the site, it's completely possible. But she can kind of go through the different subjects and see what topics are available. Once she finds a topic that's relevant, like leadership, she can jump into it. Now, this site had about 100,000 pieces of content loaded in it, too. So even with that volume of content, it's an easy navigation experience. Once she gets into the leadership subject, she sees 3 different areas: leading the business, leading yourself, leading your team. Leading your team looks relevant, so she jumps into that subject. Now, before we go any further, just one thing that I want to point out. You might have noticed already that there is a co-branding in the leadership content with MIT Sloan. The reason we partnered with MIT Sloan, they've been a great partner for us in the leadership front. If you think about the skills that people need today to be leaders in any business, there's kind of this collision, right, in the world of technology and business. Leadership is becoming much more of a digital skill than it ever has before in the past. So a lot of leadership solutions you see out there, they're really focused on those more traditional leadership competencies that many of you are probably familiar with. Competencies like mentoring, coaching, leading through change, etc. But in this collection, across those different subjects, you'll see a variety of cutting-edge digital leadership competencies that are included. Topics like leading virtually or adaptive leadership or leading in the digital era. There's just a number of those that can be relevant and useful and really help focus on skilling your leaders up in those different digital areas. So as we dive into the channel, what we see here is kind of, again, this is where the content lives in the system. You'll see that concept repeated: watch, read, listen, and practice. On the watch tab, there'll be a short list of courses. Now, we keep the content list in the channel relatively short. This is a short list of our best, most timely, relevant content on this particular subject. If Jordan were to go out and run a search, she would find many more resources on building and leading successful teams. This is really about, kind of taking the onus of having to search and dig and look for relevant, timely content and letting our content experts curate that experience. So over time, our content experts, if there's a new bestseller or book out on the market around building and leading teams, that would automatically be replaced or show up in this channel. So this is an ongoing content maintenance process for us. The two types of courses, and this is kind of unique for us in the marketplace as well, there are two different types of leadership instructional design methods that we use, if you will. There's this concept of expert to camera. You'll see this course right here. This is Amy Edmondson. She is a expert on teaming, phenomenal speaker, professor at Harvard. But this is a more traditional type of training that happens where you have an expert, somebody that's really knowledgeable or passionate about a particular topic, and they are providing instruction head-on to camera. The other types of courses that you'll see for the various subjects in the leadership collection are courses that we call scenario-based learning, like this Building and Leading Successful Teams course. So with the scenario-based learning, if you think about your favorite TV show or a movie that you've watched, there's actually a cast of characters. There's, some dramatization that happens. And so what we have found through that partnership with MIT, we've actually taken learners into labs. We've done fMRI scans, scan the brain while we're exposing them to these different types of video treatments or instructional design methodologies that we use. And we have found for the scenario-based learning, the brain is much more engaged. And not only is the learner much more engaged or the brain's much more engaged during this sort of instruction, after they complete the instruction, more importantly, they are recalling more. So they remember more of what they learned. So it's a really powerful way. And this is a great type of instruction to use. Even if you go back and think about Jordan, who needs probably in this area of leading successful teams, she may need foundational building knowledge before she kind of progresses. This is a great way to introduce those sort of topics. In the read area, you'll notice we have a number of, and when I think about read, I always think about books, but it could take you an hour, 2 hours to read a book, maybe longer, depending on the length of the book. So this is, definitely a more sustainable learning type of activity. But there are also a number of book summaries. So these are like cliff notes, if you will, for the best-selling business books. So a short 5 to 10 page summary. So there's a mix of resources in these channels, depending on whether Jordan has maybe just a few minutes or a little bit longer to learn. Same thing with audiobooks, a number of best-selling audiobooks coupled with some audio summaries, which are much shorter, usually under 10 minutes long. And then kind of going back to our storyline, Jordan had that conflict breaking out in her team. And really a kind of important focus in this leadership collection for us is being able to give leaders the tools that they need to apply the skills that they learn. So Jordan's watched a few courses, she's read some books, she's got some knowledge, but now she needs some resources to help her apply the skills that she's learning. So she kind of goes down through the list here. She'll note there is a team communication and conflict facilitation guide coupled with some conflict slides. So how these resources work, the facilitation guide is, it's kind of an instruction manual, if you will. Here's the activity, here's how long it's going to take, these are the items, these are the materials that you'll need to conduct the activity, to have that discussion with your team about conflict. We also provide her with these slides, which are basically the deck of PowerPoint slides that she can edit or tailor if she needs to. But then after she has these resources and she's prepared for that conversation, she's ready to go back to her team and address that conflict situation. So moving through the day here, after 1 o'clock, Jordan has just gone into a meeting with her manager, and her manager has informed her maybe a scenario that many of you can relate to today. Her manager has informed her that her team and herself, they're all going to be working virtually for a period of time. So this is an example. Let's dive back into the platform. This is an example of type of content we call a journey, Spire Journey. So I'm going to navigate over to these right quick. We have a couple of these that are available in the leadership area. There'll be more as we progress through this upcoming year, different levels of leadership journeys, if you will. But for this story, this journey, virtual work and the new norm, looks completely appropriate. So let's dive into this one. So what the journey is, when you need instruction on a vast topic, and in this case, Jordan's never worked from home, so she needs to know how to do that for herself first. But then she also needs to know how to lead her team virtually as well, right? So this is a pretty vast collection of skills that she's needing to ramp up on. So in this example, what you can see here at the top is this is actually a more sustained or formal learning effort, leadership learning effort. It's 16 courses, a total of 5 hours of learning. There's a few book summaries that are included as well, but this is organized into tracks. So and they're really meant to be taken in sequence, right? So starting with getting set up at home, working all the way down to the more complex managing and leading topics. And within each of these tracks, the content is meant to be taken kind of in the same fashion. So it's sequenced. You start with the foundational or first course first and work your way through the list. Now, for a more sustained learning activity like this, one of the key things is making it easy for Jordan to track, what she's done prior. So you'll notice these little circle graphs that I'm hovering over right now. I haven't started this journey yet. Jordan hasn't started this journey yet, but as she starts to progress through this particular track, she'll get a little percentage indicator here letting her know how much of this track she's completed. And she can visually see that at the track level, and up at the top of the header of the collection, she can see overall how much she has left before she completes the journey. All right, so we've reached the end of Jordan's day. It's 6 o'clock, and she has maybe she's going to go on an afternoon walk, and she wants to take advantage of that time to take some more learning. So with this example, we're going to show you how the leadership content can be accessed via mobile device. Let me queue up the share right quick. We can show you the app. So as she's out on her walk, she launches the Percipio mobile app. She wants to run a search on a relevant topic, maybe feedback. She runs the search. A number of resources come back. She can dive into some channels on feedback, but maybe, for a walk, it's more appropriate for her to do something like listen to an audiobook. She can apply a filter that brings up the audiobook resource. Now, at this point, maybe she's not going to have access to Wi-Fi or a cellular network. She can actually, if you look down at the bottom of the screen there, she can download any of the content, so she can take it offline without access to Wi-Fi or cell network. She wanted to save it to her playlist, or if maybe she's in a cohort class with other new managers and she thought, hey, this has been a great little piece on feedback, I want to share it out with my teammates. She can click on a button and share it out via text or any of those other messaging apps or productivity apps like Slack or Microsoft Teams. So in closing, today I think what we showed you was a really compelling leadership solution that can meet leaders at any point where they're at in the organization and really help you tap in and scale leadership capability across the organization in a number of different ways. We showed you how we support leaders from on-demand performance support. We talked about the modern learner expectation and experience that Percipio offers. We also covered the instructional design methodology that we use here at Skillsoft, how our content is different and cutting edge. And then we also took a look at the resources that we provide leaders so that they can actually start to apply the skills that they learn.
And in closing, I want to thank everyone for your time today. I hope that this sparked your interest and provided you with some ideas on ways that you can bring leadership resources like this into your organization. Thank you for your time, and please enjoy the rest of Perspectives 2020. Thank you.